Flow YouTube, because I'm sharing and screening. I'm Michael Fleming, and I want to introduce you to the Care Alliance. And not to have such a deep, serious tone about all of this, but this is something over the years that in regards to trying to figure out how to help people from various communities, and how do you help people sustain their communities from where they are. So I am going to go over my strategy for making the world better, making the community better. Again, I'm Michael Fleming. I'm the CEO and founder of the United Community Care Alliance. And this is my, I guess, thought process on what it would take to make just individual communities, one community by community, all across the country, all across the world. How do we make these communities better? And so this is the introduction to the Care Alliance. And I want to go ahead and run through that and explain how this all works. And so to give you a real quick background on me, I've been a community provider and grassroots kind of organizer probably for the last 20 years in some kind of capacity. But I'll tell you more about myself at the end of this. And so what I want to be able to do is kind of run through this and give you an idea of just what I was able to find over the years that really would sustain a particular community. Now I'm using both Atlanta and Memphis. I'm currently in the Atlanta area. I'm originally from the Memphis area. So I'm using those two as an example, but we're working on this across the country as a whole. And so some of the things that you're seeing here, both within the United Community Care Alliance, the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise, even the King Streets Project, I'm going to try to do a quick kind of overview of how this could work and how this could work for every single community in the world, literally community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, zip code by zip code. And as fluid as I'm going to try to make this, it took some years to kind of understand what was needed and what was necessary to kind of pull this off. But one of the first things, this page actually says a lot. If you thought about it just for a minute, as a matter of fact, as I go through this, I've heard somebody, I kind of coined it as the Uberizing of care. Uber doesn't own a single vehicle, but they turned in the process and the system to turn vehicles into taxis, that kind of thing. But what if we could take care of each other directly from within our communities? I'm extremely passionate and all this stuff and driven by this and love this at all times. But to give you an idea, this is not just some little passing thing. That is actually the Care Alliance shield, car magnet shield that I drive with on my car. And so if you can imagine having one of these shields for your city, your town, your state, wherever you are, your country, and all those different things too. But it is immediately identifying that everybody cares about each other, at least the people who care about each other, who genuinely care about what are the interests, needs, and growth and development of each person in that particular community. So I'm calling it the Care Alliance as a whole. And both the idea of that, this is truly about, love our neighbor, is truly looking out for each other. I am definitely my brother's keeper, my community's keeper, my neighborhood's keeper. And I don't mind saying that. And I don't mind saying to people too that we need each other. And as much as we all know, we sometimes get frustrated with the way that it seems like we disappoint each other, or the way life kind of takes on, certain struggles and challenges. But we need each other. And so I'm going to kind of explain that in the process too. And primarily, what I've done is taken all the challenges and issues in our community and broke them into three primary categories: healthy, wealthy, and wise. And again, I'll talk about the overall just King Streets as a collective project inside of the Care Alliance as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this and kind of lead into what it looks like. So again, the ultimate shield to this is the United, just the total United Community Care Alliance. So what does it take for a community to take care of its own, take care of each other, and then collectively, collaborate and coexist with other communities around it? And so I do have a nonprofit called the United Community Care Alliance. Gladly will partner with people, take donations, all that good stuff. Just about everything you've seen has been self-funded. And so, I'll talk about all that in the end too. But to me, ultimately, all that matters is how we make our community, how we make the world better. My primary company is Compass AIM Global Management. And like I said, King Streets is another project that we're working on inside of this as well. But for the sake of this is all about, how do we improve our communities overall? So I was giving an example earlier of the Atlanta Care Alliance. Atlanta's got other counties. So I'm just showing this as an example of your personal city, town, your county, your church, your organization. They all can be join the Care Alliance and have their own individual shield, their own individual thing that kind of represents their contribution and participation in what this Care Alliance would look like in their community. So I want to show how this ultimately works. Everything on the screen is what I'm actually getting ready to cover. So in some particular way is what you're getting ready to explain. And so you'll see these things up close and personal here in a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to that. This is pretty much, if you're familiar with the Atlanta area, and again, I'm just using this as an example. Obviously, this is anywhere in the world, the same thing. This is primarily what the Atlanta area looks like in the surrounding kind of counties that support the Atlanta area, which is in the Fulton County area. Downtown Atlanta right here is in the center of all of this. But again, even though I'm using Atlanta as an example, there's not every single community can be impacted by this. So what I want to be able to show over here is that it typically what you find in just about every community, every zip code, all across the country, all across the world, is you're going to find these challenges and issues that are in that community, right? Every community needs a pretty exact needs assessment to find out what exactly is needed in that community. And there's education needs, skills building. I'm big on that. And let me tell you, I've got curriculum and materials and everything for every one of these things. That's hard for people to imagine. But over 20-some years of doing community development, really, I've been part of kind of community engagement, since I was about 19, and as far as my adult years. And even as a child, I was a counselor, camp counselor, and those kind of things. So it's been in my heart and my passion for everything. But this ain't just, a passion project. This is seriously about trying to figure out real answers. So I'm not just randomly giving you this list of interests and concerns and issues. I myself and a whole bunch of us have worked on these things over the years. So this is the culmination of that. But workforce and skills development, you can't really do anything for any community anywhere in the world if you don't have economic development. So if you don't have the capacity for people to take care of themselves and take care of their household, then there's always going to be a challenge anyway. So workforce, family services, financial support. We got a financial literacy class called Money Lessons. Crime prevention is always, and all these things obviously come up doing politics and everything else, but it's usually superficial. There's no one who comes with a comprehensive strategy or plan. And I'm offering this up. I would love to see this be part of some of those initiatives, agendas, and everything else. And again, just reach out to me and I'll give you even more background on this too. Youth services, just partying with a purpose, so we have a piece called edutainment. So we got a thing called stage, and I'll talk about that here in a second too. Housing, even games, and that's all, again, is everywhere. Senior care, transportation, and food services. This is the pretty standard list of what you find in the challenges of what you find in individual communities, right? See, so here I'm showing the Atlanta area and Atlanta metropolitan area, but I want to show what it would look like. And then here's something that's not random at all. So the Care Alliance pretty much has 10 principles, 10 kind of areas that you have to pretty much satisfy for every community. And so most cities are combined with both hope and despair. And you have an area that's fluent and prospering and everything, and then you have an area that's kind of struggling. And I'm saying we're not leaving anybody behind. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran, and I had that mentality even before I got in the military, is that I'm not leaving anybody behind. So if you can't, if you find people that just seem to kind of again talk rhetoric, you're not gonna get that from me. We're just about having real serious solutions. And of course, we have to deal with the legal challenges that people have. The nonprofit community usually is fragmented. In other words, you got all these 501c3 organizations, and in most cases don't even know they're surrounded by another 20 or 30 organizations that can collaborate with. That's a big part of what the Alliance looks like as well. Education, having a community think tank, and this seems extremely massive and comprehensive. But you can't solve a 100-mile problem with 100 miles of resources. If you got a 100-mile problem, you pretty much got to have 1,000 resources. This is not intended to be some superficial. I was saying it earlier about response to we're going to just take some photo ops and try to talk about how we're going to talk about how the community can ultimately be better. To me, this is a response to all the years that myself and my colleagues and teams of people that have been around that we saw that was the need in these various communities. And so, of course, the spiritual community, the faith community as a whole, health and medical is always a defining component of what everyone addresses. And then home personal development and investment, because you got to have, one thing about it is, money is a byproduct of our effort and our time and our value and all those different things too. And they impact our overall quality of life. But what if all the businesses and establishments in our communities also contributed to the ultimate progress and development and growth of our communities. And so we're going to look at that as well. And then we hate to admit it, but as in an international world, we're all one big family collectively. We all play a role in how we sustain our lives. So that should definitely be part of it. And so to give you an idea, there are 1,000 cities that have a street named after Dr. Martin Luther King, but we think every city is a King Street. And in other words, if you care about your neighbor, and and so there's two greatest commandments, right? But no, so it's love thy neighbor is what we'll kind of put that in place. But the idea is these are the functional parts of what it would take to have a vibrant, thriving community collectively together. And it's just that what I call that we don't have a coordinated community. So serving and educating communities has to be a big part of it. That has to be sustainable within. And so let's get down to the actual strategic parts of it, right? So typically what you end up having is when most people drive through a city or area or town or something like that, you pass all these standing buildings and facilities and locations and everything else, but they're just there and they're all functioning independent, right? All the retail shops, the stores, grocery stores, just everything that you go and do, from restaurants to all those things, kind of the little small business center that's somewhere near your community and somewhere near your neighborhood or wherever you go to market and wherever you kind of get the resources and things that you need. And then how we interact with just all these corporations, and we don't think about it that way because, again, we just kind of go through our personal checklist of what we need to do. And so we just kind of go to those things, the gas station, the convenience store, like I said, a local restaurant, and just anything and everything that kind of brings us back to the household or gets us ready for the next day of work. And so right now, again, all these things are independent. They're there in our community, but they're not collectively working together. So what we're saying is this zip code by zip code and around the country is what if they all join the CARE Alliance? And what would that look like? What would they do? How would we need them to participate? And so if the idea would be is that every one of these locations, imagine every business having, again, this shield in their window. And so, and for those that are familiar with the Atlanta area, there's a convenience store, a gas station that's called Quick Trip. And most people don't know that is a safe spot, a safe place. And so you're supposed to be able to, if you get into any kind of trouble, you're supposed to be able to go to QT, and then you're going to, and what you do is you kind of let them know that you're having some kind of challenges in your life, and then they will get the proper people involved and kind of get you, somewhere where you can feel safe again. Well, what if every business did that? And I mean, I love their companies because it's embedded into their business model. And so we get, most people don't really realize what that means. But what if every business, every company in our community assisted with making that community better? And I want to say this much too. Most of the people who own these places, including the churches in our community, and most of the people who own the businesses in our communities, and most of the people the schools that, where the employees work, most of those things are what I call commuter establishments. People commute into a community, they provide some service or business or product or whatever, and then they go back out of that community. They typically don't live in that particular community, right? They come in, now unless it's like a local restaurant or something like that, but for the most part, if it's even from the education, the teachers commute in, they commute out. Even for the churches, most of the time the pastors and the administration and the leadership, they commute to the church, they leave out. The businesses, same thing. The banks definitely do that. And so the hospitals and everything else, those people don't typically live in the community where the service is actually provided. Well, what that does is it takes away from the real kind of guidance and mentoring and tutoring and all those things that can take place in the community. But what if we could continue that, have that as a process every single hour that location is available with minimum expectation other than for them to do what they're already doing? So again, right now, all these businesses are all independent. Let's say we take all those different locations I was just showing you, and they all function independent. And then we ask them simply to join the CARE Alliance. Now, right now, we don't have the apps and everything else working, but eventually we'll have an app, and then it automatically tell you which businesses and corporations are in the CARE Alliance. And then, and here's an interesting fact or kind of research thing that I've been finding. In a populated area, typically in every community, there are over 1,500 businesses in that community. That's hard for people to imagine, but there's over 1,500 standing building businesses in every zip code, major city zip code that I've ever researched, there's over 1,500 businesses. And all of a sudden now, where you have no one helping each other, you all of a sudden now going to have 1,500 different entities and businesses and all helping each other by them joining the Care Alliance. And I call them impact sites, right? They go from just being some independent, profitable business in the community to now really having something they can contribute to the community. And again, I'm going to talk about that here in a second. See, so they join the Care Alliance. They all have a logo in their window, and then they'll have it in association to what they provide or do, which is the healthy, wealthy, or wise. If it's a hospital office, it's going to be healthy. If it's a bank, it's going to be wealthy. If it's something that has to do with education, training, job training, it's going to be wise. But they can have all three of them. They can have this shield, and then they'll have the other shields up with it as well. So I'll go ahead and show that here, what it looks like. So again, this was the Atlanta area. Let me show you what it looked like in the Memphis area. There's what I was talking about with the healthy, wealthy, and wise. They have the shield up, and then they have also a shield representing what their relationship is to the Care Alliance too. And here's the thing too about all of this. This is not set up as a traditional nonprofit. This is set up to be sustainable by itself. It's to give a value to every single person or business that participates in this. It's to help people have a better quality of life, help businesses reduce their insurance, for security and all the stuff that they normally represent, because they have a stronger relationship with the people that they serve. And so this whole system is built on all of us looking out for each other. I'm definitely one of those people that I believe in the hope of us, of all of us, and all the things that we can be, all the things that I can be frustrated about with society. I genuinely appreciate all the wonderful things about who people are. And the majority of people are good people. Bad people will make you feel like everybody's bad. But in reality, good people just are the best of people. I mean, just the best of things. And so we'll get to even that too. But healthy, wealthy, and wise, and the Care Alliance. So again, if you can imagine it, you would have these, you would have this at your, at your particular location. And I forgot to set up my other screen. So give me just a sec. So the idea of what this looks like for us and how things go. Oh, give me a sec. I knew that was going to happen. All right. See, so some of the things that are there is that, again, this is that segment between the Care Alliance and the healthy, wealthy, and wise. So here we go. So as another example, just give me an example of, what Memphis would look like. And again, I live in Atlanta, but I'm originally from Memphis, so Memphis is always in my heart. But Memphis was one of the first places that I designed this for. So if you're familiar with the Memphis area at all, Memphis is a tri-state area, Arkansas to the west, Mississippi to the south, and then in Tennessee, obviously. So, but Memphis's highway system looks literally just like this. So I took Memphis and I drew my own little drawing of Memphis. I divided Memphis into 4 quadrants. And if you're familiar with Memphis at all, this is the Mississippi River. Arkansas is over here. Mississippi is down here. And then there's 4 quadrants of how Memphis's demographic is broken up to. And quadrant 1 is one of the poorest areas, even though the downtown area is down here. But one of the poorest areas of Memphis is in this area. Sadly, I grew up in that area, so part of why I even kind of built this Care Alliance, because I saw this happening all the time with us. And in the poor areas, we were closed out of resources. So my mother and my grandmother, who primarily raised, struggled to try to get all the things that they needed to make a better life. And so there's no reason for anyone to have to go through that when all the resources we need are really around us every day. And so, but to give you an idea, I could easily go on and talk about, understanding the demographics for each quadrant, but it's kind of quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. Quadrant 1 is, like I said, a poor kind of low income area. And then you got a strong middle class and a mixture of both poor, kind of marginal middle class area for quadrant 4. And then quadrant 3, you got a strong middle class there. Quadrant 2, you got a strong middle class. And then out here in the area out here to the east, you got, kind of upper middle class of, wealthy kind of areas out here. And so, but again, the same list shows up city to city, zip code by zip code. And I'll show that at the end too, just how much, research and everything has gone into this as well. See, so what is it that we're looking at having everyone do? And so again, this is not random. This is not stuff I'm proposing. This is stuff we actually have. And so in every one of those zip codes, we're wanting every single person to do what we call the vision quest. And then sometimes we call it the life quest, but it's a life mapping exercise. And I literally have videos. You can check on my YouTube page and Facebook and all the things. I'm starting to put a lot of these up where we can map out your entire life, your plans, your strategy, your way of managing your life, all in less than an hour. It is a very unique workshop, and I, gladly would do those for you. And by the way, too, this is not officially sponsored by Wells Fargo. We put that on there just as an example to show that we're trying to get sponsors and everybody else. So, but it's here there. So I don't want to, infringe on anything with Wells Fargo or anything else, but we definitely want to be partners with corporations and everything else. This system is about everyone collaboratively working together. So Wells Fargo is getting some free advertising for us from right now, but that's beside the point overall. So the Vision Quest, again, in every zip code, if you can imagine every person having a life plan of their own. I don't want to tell people what to do. I want to give people the tools to tell me how to help. That's what's important to me. So I'm not, the whole thing is I have confidence overall that people have a sense of what's good and what's right for them. Again, the majority of people are good people. And that's from somebody who works in community, has worked in communities all the entire adult life. And so it's just that that's hard for us to see, from what we see in media and everything else. It's hard for us to imagine that. But, when you're really down and seeing good people working, the majority, over 90-some% of the people work every day. They get up and go to work. They're not trying to cause harm. They're just trying to take care of their family. So Vision Quest is dedicated to that. And I've done thousands of these workshops all over the United States. I've done them in South Africa, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, and those kind of things too. I've trained people on how to do it. I got videos online. You're more than welcome to see that, and I will gladly host those for you. I don't get caught up. Some we charge for, some we do for free, some we do for donations. It all depends on what the objectives are. So again, the Vision Quest is one of the main things you start with. And again, because we know it's a work to live society, then we've got a couple of things dedicated to helping people improve their projection in their life. How do you keep growing your experiences and work experiences and your income? We call it the Junior Executive Program. And so again, I've got content, curriculum materials, and everything for this, and we've even got software for a lot of this stuff. But the Junior Executive Program literally is to try to help you grow your income and salary about $5 an hour every year, at least that. And so that's hard for most people to imagine. How do you go from making $10 an hour to 15 to 20, 25, 30, and so on? We literally have a series of workshops and things that we have for that. Stage, all the world's a stage. I mean, we definitely know that now with all the software and tools and everything that's out there. And, it's just, I kind of smile about it because STAGE is an acronym for skills, talents, abilities, gifts, and effort. And again, have a whole curriculum set, all kind of materials and everything for it. It's hard for somebody to imagine that we got this much stuff and there's always a we would need, but we do. And so reset. And again, like I said, when I was younger, we didn't have a lot of resources, but that's what reset is dedicated to. Another acronym is resources, education, support, empowerment, and training. Now, you don't have to do all these things, honestly. All these are set up to be done independently. So for those who are nonprofits that will see this video, we will gladly do train the trainer and capacity building and all those things for you. I'm telling you. So I'm giving you the full fire hose, ocean full of stuff. But in reality, this is set up intentionally to show the full strategy. But we chop these up into little pieces. We don't get overwhelmed by it. And there's very few places that we've done all of them at one time, that kind of thing. So we accommodate to our partners. And so the reset, again, resources, education, support, empowerment, and training. But it's centered mainly about trying to find where the resources in your local community. That's the other thing, too. That's one of the main strategies that came out of this is you got to solve the problems locally. For the most part, at least 70% of everything that's got to be resolved is most likely got to be resolved within 5 to 10 miles of where that issue is happening. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's crime. I don't care if it's drugs. I don't care if it's, unemployment. It typically has to be solved within 5 to 10 miles of where that person lives, right? So these first four are the staples. They really are the true staples. But here's one that I'm amazed by that people take for granted. And yet it became a quick staple for us. There are over 340 million, right at about 340 million people in the United States. 40 million people in the United States, at least 40 million people in the United States did not graduate from high school. And that's since like the 1960s. Have 40 million people alive in the United States did not graduate from high school. So how is it that we do not have a universal or at least national set up GED, which is a general education diploma program? And so, again, living here in Atlanta and for over right about 12 years, we had one of the largest life skills GED programs in the entire state. We actually provided life skills and GED services to all 10, the primary metro counties and around and all throughout the state in various ways, and definitely around the country. Like I said, we supported other organizations, but I have a ton of content and materials, and I'm gonna start making some videos on some of the teaching techniques and things that we had to learn. And we did this in high risk, at risk communities too. So it wasn't like trying to train, somebody who just had to get out of school because they had to go get a job to help their family and all that kind of stuff, which a lot of times is what was happening. But we did these in prisons, homeless shelters, anywhere and everywhere you could think about going. Now, at the time, Atlanta, over the time period that we were doing this, Atlanta had right at about 10 million, right at 9 million, 10 million people. 1 million people in the state of Georgia by itself needed a GED. And now, obviously I'm African American. And so the sad, tragic part is over 90% of African American males that were in prison did not have a GED. And so those numbers are still high. And then most people don't realize it too, but the dropout rate in the state, overall dropout rate per county in Georgia is still over 35%. In some counties, it's over 45%. And so, and that's collective, white, black, young, old, male, female, so it's sad that is not being addressed overall, because obviously people compensate, they just go about their day and go ahead and figure out how to get a job. And most likely, in all honesty, they don't tell the truth about their education, or they just don't reveal it. And so, but the GED program could lead to so many other things, and there's so many other services and resources around GED by itself. So again, these are our typical 5 staple kind of programs that you will see from us that I'm constantly promoting and sharing with people. Hard for people to believe that I've done this much work. And then most of the times, most people didn't know we were doing this because it wasn't high profile, newsworthy kind of stuff. We just did the work. And so, thousands of people over that time period that we helped get their GED, go on to college, and do some other things too. All right, so the FAST program, that's another acronym for 1 Hour Financial Literacy Program. We've converted this to the Money Lessons Program, and they got a whole, like I said, materials and everything else around that, and software and everything else around that too. The AMBER program originally started off as 1 Hour Women and Girls Mentoring Program, and so we're big on that. Everybody should have a mentor. Everybody should be willing to mentor, and or mentees and everything else. King was our boys and men's mentoring program, and we've changed the name in and out for different things. So a lot of times we just put all of that under the Reset program. So these two most of the time just fell directly under that. Now, remember I was showing earlier that all these businesses that are in an individual zip code all need to be part of the Care Council in some particular way, what we're calling the Care Council. And so this is, again, those core elements of what we're saying, that we're asking all these businesses in some way to help or assist, finance, contribute to what these programs would be like in every single community. So, this again is, how can we go wrong if we're saying that we care about each other? And, so now it's not just words, it's care in action. It's kind of what we're going after with this as well. So one of the things that we're going to be asking the businesses to do, and that's what you're seeing on the screen right now, is now they can do this. They don't have to do it, this part of it. But you'll be surprised what the reaction has been like. We create these things called care stands. And the care stands have the healthy, wealthy, and wise. So when you go into a particular business, and what's funny is as I've shown people this over the years, they'll say, man, don't nobody like paper. I promise you, then tomorrow or whatever, or later, or whenever you see this video, the next time you go somewhere, go and watch how much paper is in that business. I mean, paper has not gone anywhere. You go in there to see our brochures. As a matter of fact, at the locations that we put these up, they already had things to put in them that they just had sitting around. But we're saying that that's the whole thing about this. This is the Uberizing of care, right? That's the whole idea, is that we're trying to say that that we want to be able to advertise and promote the things that are already in those communities and resources that most people don't even know exist. So these are literally, they're encouragement stands to find resources that are in that community. That's the other thing too. Inside of these care stands, we really encourage people to put the information about services that are right there in the community. So these are some of the ones up in Atlanta, and this is the one we put up in Memphis, where there's 2 in Memphis, and there was 2 in Atlanta that we started off with. So we're in the beginning stages of really getting this all promoted and trying to figure out how to get all this financed. Like I said, up to this point, it's been self-financed. Literally, overall, it's been myself and maybe 1 or 2 other people on the team, but for the most part, I kind of put some money behind it. So, but again, these care stands, We go into the businesses, and they don't have to be a full standing stand. There's also the little table ones and everything else, and I'll show pictures of those as well. So you have both the actual symbols. Again, I can't show this enough. And like I said, you can have this per business too. It's not just for your city or your town and all those kind of things. But again, even though this is the card magnet, this is the ones that go inside of the actual location itself. And then, of course, we got these little flyers, patches and everything too, to go along with it too. And I'm gonna show you a couple of other things. So now imagine you're an organization, a church, a nonprofit, or business, or government agency, and you're watching this video, right? This is the buffet. You don't have to do all of this. If one piece sounds good, that's the piece you want to do. That's what we're counting on. We're not asking anyone to go beyond what they are comfortable doing or the level in which they participate. But imagine if you're one of the only organizations in the community who does not participate in caring about the people that where your business is located, right? We want to improve the quality of life for everyone, every single place in the world. When the middle class is doing strong, the economy stays strong collectively for everybody. Everybody wins in this process. I'm absolutely an optimist about bringing out the best in each other. So okay, here we go. And again, it's just some more snapshots. And then I got various pictures in here to show some of the work and stuff that we've done over the years. I'll go through and show some of that too. And I know there's not a lot. I took these pictures on the first day that I put some of these up, so there wasn't a lot of content inside of each one. But we're both going to populate these care stands, and we expect the partners to populate the care stands, nonprofits in the community to populate the care stands, and then we got a whole revenue component that goes into it. I'm not going to go into a lot of that today, but we got all these elements. But imagine that now that you walk into a convenience store and they've got just that little space of care stuff that talks about what's available right there in the community, right? Like I said, Quick Trip is already kind of doing a piece of that. Would love to partner with them, by the way. So or some of these gas station convenience stores around the world and everything else. So here's another piece in the buffet, and this is a pretty big piece too. We want to give out and send what we call the care boxes. And again, I've had people go, man, you talking about a lot of paper. I'm like, no, these are independent functions, and they all don't necessarily have to be done all at the same time. And so this is not random. And so the goal is again, I'm a military veteran, and when I was at basic training, everyone loved getting care boxes. And so, and what's interesting too is we made some mock-ups of these care boxes. Literally, we have samples of them made, but we obviously are looking for corporate partners and corporate sponsors and everything else for them. And they're going to be made in the three categories: healthy, wealthy, and wise. So you may get one every 2 months, and that kind of thing, in the various categories. But when I showed my son at the time, who was probably about 6, 7 years old, when I showed him the care boxes, he immediately said, "Dad, are there going to be toys in the boxes?" I was like, "That's a fantastic idea." And so yeah, and I mean, here just from the miles of baby. And so it was so but the idea is that you would get a care box from sent from the various partners or collectively from the overall care alliance for that particular community. And so, and again, like I said, we got mock-ups of the boxes. This is real, so that is our mock-up right there. And at the time, we were trying to introduce it to the Atlanta public school system. So again, none of this stuff is officially endorsed by anybody. So I apologize if somebody's like, "Hey, you weren't supposed to have that." Let's get it worked out. And so what the idea is that the care boxes reflect everything that I've shared and expressed so far. So to give you an idea, there's a healthy, wealthy, and wise. See that on the boxes? So that's the dedication to that we're taking a holistic approach to helping people solve their issues and challenges in their lives. And then on top of that, I want to show you something about the process. So on here on the back, obviously, family support, business support, community support. So obviously we can cater and customize these particular boxes. The box is set up by zip code, by community. That's the whole thing is that you solve the problems locally. And then at least 70% of the problem, it needs to be solved right there locally. And then here's the thing too about it. And I'm gonna show what's inside of some of the boxes too. And I know I think this may be in mirror mode, so you might not be able to tell. But the way this is set up is there's 4 levels of help: Pinnacle, Triumph, Summit, and Endeavor. Right. So the whole idea is if you're endeavoring, you're struggling, and whether that person calls that situation or whether life calls the situation for them, let's help that person in some particular way. Let's try to resolve some of the challenges and struggles within a 15 to 45 day time period. That's the endeavoring. Because if you let a person stay in endeavoring, they're going to go into something that's not on here. They're going to go into crisis. And so, and if they go into crisis, desperation kicks in. They can do damage to themselves and other people and everything else. And so, and again, mental health and all those things are big in every one of these levels. The summit level is that we want to look at what's happening in your life and say, okay, you're making some kind of progress, or you wanting to make a change, or you wanting to grow. Then there'll be an Endeavor box, a Summit box, and or Endeavor Alliance and Summit Alliance as well. And then Triumph is you're making some progress in your life. Maybe you're getting a better job, going back to school, starting a business. You're starting to have some successes in your life. Pinnacle is the ideal, is that you've been accomplished in some things. And now we're hoping the people that reach the pinnacle want to immediately come back and be of service somewhere else. And that's the other thing too. My grandmother used to say to me all the time, and I mean, she was an amazing, wonderful person. Matter of fact, this is all in her spirit, as a matter of fact. But she would say, Michael, every chance you get, help. Every chance you get, share. Every chance you get, share, and every chance you get, help. She was, in essence, saying you can't do it all the time. So, but try to do it when you can. That kind of thing is what's going on. So this is so the idea of us being able to kind of put this together. So what's inside the box overall? There'll be different things in the boxes at different times. So this one, we got a life management system called the Day Wheel. This is literally, so there's a Day Wheel system in here. My insurance agent knew I was working on, my life insurance agent knew I was working on something, and she shared with me this was from Allstate. And this thing is fantastic, by the way. This is what they have set up. And then there's different contents and materials and stuff like that. Here's the life mapping, it's cut it in half there. But here's the life mapping diagram that we run through with the Vision Quest. Some of the things that are in there. There's a whole collection of stuff that's inside the box. And but each box would have all the things. Now, I am not naive to business functions and operations and everything else. I used to be the division manager for Bell South teleworking program, all 9 states and all that stuff. Before that, I was an electronics instructor in the Air Force. I taught 13 classes on the C-130. I've been a management consultant, knowledge manager, enterprise solutions consultant. I am not naive to how much work and activity and functions, nor am I overwhelmed by what would be necessary to put all these working components in place, the staffing, maybe the volunteering, all the rest of the stuff that's done. That's all logistics, so that's, I personally, I'm not overwhelmed by that. And then I'm a tech guy, so I'm genuinely a nerd. So I'm a process guy, and, I have a 6 Sigma black belt from Georgia Tech and all that good stuff. But I wouldn't have been able to think on this kind of scale or scope about things if I didn't have that kind of background to, what would this look like in leadership and management. So this is the Care Alliance and its ability to impact everything too. So more and more, you're going to see examples. Okay, that was the Atlanta box. Let me grab it. So the Memphis box was one of the first ones we made. So it was a little bit tattered and torn and everything else, but the same kind of effect. Oh, by the way, too, I left it off there. We would love for the corporations to sponsor the boxes and to either print them, make them, and that kind of thing. So, and again, by zip code. The boxes are by zip code. So you only get this particular box if you live in that particular zip code. And the same setup here, I didn't show it on here too, but obviously, depending on the city and the town, we would like to have those overall corporate sponsors and partners. And so, and again, the boxes can be catered and custom as much as the signs and the logos and everything else can be too. See, so, and I'm a veteran, obviously, so we made a veterans box. We can make it by issue and by, initiative and all those different things. We can make them for seasonal and, those kind of things that are set inside the boxes too. So imagine this now, right? This is us loving and caring for each other and making sure that everybody's at their best and making sure that things are happening, that everybody's improving their quality of life. So you see here again, the boxes are set up to kind of tell the entire story of where everything is set up, of how the Care Alliance will constantly respond. Now, this is another thing too. So not only would you have the shield on your car, so what if you could be identified by your gold band? Now, just so happened, this is my veteran band, but I wear it symbolically of it. But this would be the Care Alliance band, and it could be by communities, it could be by the city. It's a unifying piece that's in there too. And so the idea, again, if you see logos and stuff like that, that's just me we were trying to establish partnerships and everything else. So there are no official partners right now. That's why I'm making this video, because we are looking out, trying to get everybody to understand there's a better way for all of us to put all this stuff together. And that's what we're looking for in this. So the Atlanta Care Alliance Healthy, Wealthy, Wise band. And if you saw somebody out, it would be different colors if I was a health expert, a wealth expert. So I can take this on and off, obviously. And, I can take the magnets on and off my car, because the intent is for people to know that you're part of the Care Alliance. And then you're kind of making yourself available to kind of guide them through the process. We're not, expecting anybody to do any official counseling and all that kind of stuff. But, it gives that person a chance to talk about how they support or play a role in the Care Alliance. So each church could have their own color bands, and each business could have its own color bands, or school or government agency and all those other things. So, and then every quarter, and we'd have what we call our edutainment, where we want to party with a purpose, right? Why not be able to have some fun and be responsible with each other and kind of celebrate those in our community who really are, kind of contributing to the overall Care Alliance. So I said earlier that there was different types of stands. If a person don't want the full standing stand, then we would love for you to just put up a tabletop or wall top or something like that, or wall kind of stand system. But it still would follow the same pattern. The content of the material would be about resources primarily in that particular community, in that particular zip code. I can't say that enough. Now, here's the thing, because a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that are going on. I talk fast and think fast and all that kind of stuff too. But so realistically, there's no way around it. There's a complexity to how society interacts. But most of us, we just want to deal with our stomachs. We want to make sure we eat, we got a place to live, we got to settle in, but we forget about the entire kind of supply line of stuff that makes everything come together. And so this was my way of trying to symbolize that. This is not, if it feels chaotic, there are systems to manage chaos. There just is. And so this is a lot of the things that go into what does it take to manage these things, to maintain these things. How does all these segments interact with each other? So again, not trying to overwhelm people with all these bubbles, but as a management consultant, business consultant, I pretty much, sorry about that. I know I'm kind of triggering that, but I pretty much have done some kind of projects in just about all these different areas around a little bit of everything. And so to give an idea, I literally still, even to this day, I consult and participate in federal government contracting. And there's a thing called the NAICS codes. Most people don't even know that this even exists, but you can research them. And the entire kind of interactions that happen in every zip code usually follows these 20 industries. I know there's something new kind of for some people, but the reality is that these are the 20 things that usually impact every zip code. But we don't know this. We don't, again, because sometimes we're only thinking about getting in and out of our car or going where we got to go and go pick up our stuff, come on back and kind of deal with ourselves every day. But we forget that it takes all these different types of interactions and transactions to make things happen. Now, I'm showing this, but I could literally talk about this for hours in regards to how this fits into the Care Alliance. We need all these industry and enterprise partners. And again, their expectation is actually pretty low. All we're doing is asking you to be available, really, and have these things. And we're going to do everything we can to try to manage as much of this process for everyone as possible. Your return on investment is just simply to participate. Our return to you is your investment is to participate. Our return to you is to have you have a more viable business community and results and outcomes. There's no way around it. It is a coexisting, co-working environment for everything. I tell people, it's rarely ever work. It's always co-working, just about all the time, right? There is no regular work. There's co-working, and there's coexisting and co-collaborating in what we do. And so again, all this is embedded in there. If anybody really kind of is thinking about this, then this is for something probably a little bit deeper into the process. So again, I was just showing, the upward mobility of all this is what the desire is for everybody that participates. And I was just showing again all the entities, and eventually there will be specific roles or responses that we would have to whatever the needs are of that entity or business in that particular community. And again, this pretty much makes up, the Care Alliance is to address quality of life at every level is what it's about. Typically the wealthy and affluent or even middle affluent, they are the ones who have the businesses in these areas, the low income, moderate income. And so again, they commute over into these areas to make their money, or they work for a government agency or corporation that provides some service here. And then in some cases, obviously they're shared, resources and experiences that everybody has at every level. But for the most part, this is how this works. So again, it's not random. This is not just some wishful thinking kind of thought process. And literally, with my corporate background and community background, I've worked in all these different areas in some particular way. So, but the goal is to help us understand that this is what a better society would look like, is how we all coexist. So this I'm just showing as an example. These are handouts and worksheets and stuff that we use in classes, and we call this the person behind your eyes, right? Your experience you're having every day or every week and every month. The average person is at all these physical places, somewhere in the course of a month or a quarter or over some given time period, right? But again, they're all just individual going in and out of the doors, nobody kind of acknowledging each other. We're saying change that. And simply by all these independent places that you spend your money, get resources, all the things you need, none of them right now are in the Carolinas. So imagine when you go to these places and locations, they're in the Carolinas. We're looking out for each other all the time. What better way is that? What better society could we possibly have than the possibility of all of us doing this thing together? So, of course, and this is not just me, but the federal government already breaks out the segments of what parts of the country belong to what parts. You got all the different regions inside the federal government space. Not that I have this one particular one broken out in each one of the regions in that way, but my point is that you have the different needs by different communities. And so the Carolinas will definitely have some similarities, but we welcome the differences. And it should reflect what that community's kind of focus and interest and all those things are. There's room for that. And this just happens to be Georgia has 157 counties. I want to say 157 counties. And so this is just symbolic of, just the fact that, again, each county could have its own Carolinas, each state could have its own Carolinas, just kind of what that looks like as a way of kind of bringing everybody together. Now, again, we have no official corporate partners, but these are definitely the corporate partners we would love to have in Atlanta. So anyone watching this video, you got access, I will slow this thing down. And literally, I got business plans, I got spreadsheets, I got all this other stuff kind of explaining what this would look like on a day-to-day management process and everything else. And obviously, these are companies that make a lot of money in the Atlanta and Georgia area and throughout the Southeast and that kind of thing. Would love to have all these people in businesses as partners, all these nonprofit agencies and everything else. Would love to have them as partners. We're going to be sending out this video. So, y'all like, what the heck is he talking about? And that kind of stuff. Then I'm telling you. But just, if nothing else, just imagine the spirit of caring. That's serious. That's what it comes down to, the spirit of caring for all of us. So again, additional possible impact partners, community partners, and again, businesses that are already in the community, imagine them now all being unified into the Carolinas as a whole. And we kind of share that spirit together. It's at the end of the day, it just is what it is. Even before I got in the military, I thought this way about the collective and what it looks like with all of us bringing out the best in each other. And again, it's never perfect trying to be in people's lives, but for the most part, there's ways for us to bring out the best in each other. There's just there's more of that happening than the other. So again, just kind of symbolically showing. And then the reason I put this in there is that we are going to encourage local groups and entities to constantly participate in sharing ideas and thoughts. I can see having the Carolinas conferences and symposiums and regional and local events and activities where people are sharing ideas. We have a process for that called vision mapping. And these are, again, all different services and things like that. And so symbolic of just people in the Carolinas meeting and discussing ideas and strategies. And there's 1,000 cities that have a Martin Luther King Street, but the way we see it is every street is a King Street in regards to when you want to do kingdom building, when you want to bring out the best in each other. And so this is just symbolic of partners and people that are around the country that we're already talking to that are interested in kind of exploring what the Carolinas would look like. And again, everybody would be part of the network, and each city and town would have its own version. But, businesses would be in alliance and accordance with each other. And a lot of people say, well, the Goodwill and United Way and all of them do this. Do they? I mean, I'm not calling anybody out. That's not what I'm saying. That most of the time it's isolated to their particular market, and it's not on the ground. This is intended to be literally block by block, city by city. We absolutely welcome those partnerships. I'm telling you, I think the world, I really do, because at the end of the day, the capacity has been limited for everybody. So I'm not knocking anything. If anything, we're trying to bring all those partners and people together. They don't have to change a single thing in the initiative. We're willing to be as much of a compliment to them as they're willing to be to us, in more, as much as we possibly can be. So, grow your business, protect your business, help your partners, support the community. We can build the cities together, improve the community, help your employees, increase your clients and customers, we collectively all grow together. So this is a quick overview. I think I got a lot of other stuff in there too to kind of show it. Again, this is symbolic of cities and states and things that what we've been talking to people about, being partners with us in here. There's definitely a 5-year plan, even though that says 1 to 3 year plan. There's a 5-year plan that's embedded in this. And then real quick, I want to show you here again, that's a close up of the care stands. And it's hard to see the little shields there, but those are the healthy, wealthy, and wise stands around the back. And again, that's what I'm showing here. So you'll be able to sponsor and participate in each one of the kind of parts there. Let's see here. And not to kind of overload even more, but I just want to, and if you know me, then you know that I do this stuff for real every time. So let me see how to flow meeting controls. I want to show you real quick that this is not just us talking. I mean, I want to show you some samples of the curriculum. This is literally our curriculum format for our classes and workshops. And you know, this is our master file for the GED, life skills, work readiness, the Vision Quest, reset program, the GED, all those things. Again, is not random. I'm a systems process guy, so we have this in a structured, organized format to be able to assist. Again, hard for somebody to imagine, but just been driven, you know, and called to do it. And so, you know, there's a lineup. We got a thing called the 16 chapters. And so we, you know, we got it all segmented out in personal development track, professional development, life skills, business planning, business development. And I mean it, there is content for all of this stuff, you know, over the years. So it's almost impossible for somebody to imagine why this much work would be done. And again, I'm hitting you with the whole thing. So you're seeing the total system, the total process. And I'm going to try to have that wrapped up here in just a second. Let me get, and then I want to show you the software that we already have. Let me get you that. And then I promise I'm going to wrap up here. Let's see. Here's some of the worksheets that go into our curriculum and materials. And I was showing a little bit of that earlier. These are, again, handouts, worksheets, and things that we do in our classes. And, you know, so, and matter of fact, that's some of the software there, the LifeQuest software, the NAICS code training. And then, you know, so it's not random. And again, there's tons and tons of this material, and it's been built over 20 years. So it's not like, you know, we just started working on this recently. And, but again, these handouts have worked just fantastically. And I got videos on some of them and stuff online. You're more than welcome to check on some of the other stuff that I have on YouTube. And by the way, please, you know, like, share, talk about, comment, you know, the YouTube page, contact me. Here's, you know, my primary information and everything too. One of our main websites is the King Streets website. And we got some other stuff that's out there. Our software is at mylifequest.com. My information is right there. My email address, Michael A. Fleming. You got to put the A in the middle. Michael A. Fleming at hotmail.com. 1 M, no S, obviously. And so, you know, feel free to reach out to me, you know, kind of let me know what you're thinking one way or another. And again, you know, content materials. We do a lot of life coaching, a lot of life mapping, business development, business coaching. All that stuff is going on with us just about all the time. And again, you know, I'm talking fast, so please feel free to stop the video anytime. One of the last things here, let me show you this here, some of the software components, and to show you that there's no real randomness to it. Let's see here. Let's want to close that out. So there's definitely a, like I said, a King Streets page. I mean, the YouTube page and YouTube related videos. But to give you an idea of what I mean by the zip code by zip code, there's at least 5 great sites that do this. So, and this one particular one is weird, and it works this way online. It works differently on the phone. But if you put in a particular zip code, I'm going to show this 30318. I want to show you what this does. What happens is, and it used to not work this way, but it does. But if you put in the 30318, and then you go to B2B directory, Yellow Pages, and you click on the zip code data, again, it's not random. What I was saying about solving problems zip code by zip code, this website does a fantastic job of showing you what entities are in that particular zip code. So again, on average, I found over 1,500 establishments per zip code. Now, obviously, you know, there will be some reaching out to people in existing organizations and business associations and chamber of commerces and all that kind of stuff that, you know, what this would look like. But we're counting on the brand growing and being present so much. Folks gonna seek us out. Now, this happens in stages. You know, the first stage is to get the basic agreement on doing the Care Alliance, and then the first 2-3 months is doing nothing but reaching out to these core partners in the community. And then we actually don't implement and fully activated into the community until anywhere from 3 to 6 months later. So there's a buildup to this. This way the strategy is set up to do. And again, I got Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoints and all that stuff explaining the step-by-step kind of phases and strategies to this. But so much of this data now is out here and it's free. So, and then these can be contributing partners, donating, you know, the scholarships and everything else that we can be having in this process. So that there's a lot of that that's in here. I won't go too in depth on this, but again, I'm a tech guy, I'm a nerd guy. So I try to solve this problem from kind of like a technical perspective. This is our website dedicated to all our software solutions that are in there. So literally helping businesses structure their businesses more, personal development with the vision quest and professional development. I mean, there's elements in here of all our software and programs, business planning software, writing your book software, even couples relationship software, the federal government contracting stuff, the smart is what you do. Smart is not what you are, smart is what you do. And so we got a series for youth and different things that are set up, the Care Alliance itself, and obviously this video, the federal government contracting, video mentoring, becoming tech savvy. These are just a sampling of things that we've already done over the years. So it's hard for somebody to imagine what is all this, right? And how do you kind of condense this down? Again, part of the problem that we've seen forever and a day is that things have been oversimplified. We've got to meet the problem at least at the size of the problem, but it takes more resources. You got a pothole in the ground, they have to shut down a whole road sometimes just to fix a small pothole, right? That's what we're looking at. So this is the comprehensive plan for what a Care Alliance will look like. So this is our solutions website, and then our services website is Compass AIM. Again, the primary company, my primary LLC is Compass AIM Global Management, and it's loading here in a second. We're going to kind of close this out. So on this site, it kind of literally our GED students, graduating GED students, programs and events and services, and that's part of our vision mapping process, our workforce development. I mean, literally, we went where the need was, and we did the grimy stuff so people didn't know we even existed. You know, so these people did community gardens, and I mean, fantastic, wonderful people that I'm still in contact with. And so, and I mean, just we can go on and on with the pictures and examples and things of what we've done. And then this is one of our most popular projects right now that we're working on called King Street. We literally have had 22 million hits right there. By the end of next week, we have over 22 million hits, 365,000 subscribers. We average on anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 people, 3,000 visits a day. And so, what it is those resources that you saw before, there's about 1,000 kind of mentoring, what I call mentoring videos that are on here. Again, this is the Uberizing of care. How do we share shared experiences to bring out the best in each other? So the King Streets overall project, every street is a King Street, not just the physical King Streets all around the country, but it mirrors the Care Alliance. The King Streets and the Care Alliance really are one and the same. And the goals and the mission are one and the same and stuff, but it was in the spirit of Dr. King. So they're not two separate things, or they can be depending on, what we look at collectively. So I know this was a long, drawn out overview. It just, I don't know, for the most part, I can break these down and talk about one segment as much as I need to, or less as we need to. But again, this is the kind of comprehensive version and value of it all. So I'm Michael Fleming. This is my vision, my version of what I think it would take for us to have a successful society, and for all of us to be able to collaborate and get along and bring out the best in each other. I call it the Care Alliance. My nonprofit is the United Community Care Alliance. My wish and my desire for everyone is just we simply bring out the best in each other. And that if this is not the solution, then wherever it is or whatever the thing that's going to make society better, I'm an easy sell. So how do we, if you're not kind of sold on believing on what we're doing with the Care Alliance, tell me what you're doing, and I will come and help and join and be part of anything and everything that brings out the best in our collective communities and brings out the best in our society, brings out the best in our world. Willing to come anywhere in the world to do this, definitely anywhere in the United States to do this. So can't thank y'all enough again. I was trying to find the little thing with all my contact information, but again, Michael Fleming, just, love people, love society. Let's get this thing going. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. My number is 678-508-6283. Again, Michael A. Fleming at hotmail.com. I usually respond to text and everything a little bit faster than anything else. Wishing everybody the complete best. Let's bring out the best in each other. Thank you. Take care.